It's the Kink Consultant podcast, where we're turning up the heat on all things kink and dating, relationships, and pop culture. So close the door, plug in your headphones, and let's get down to it. Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Kink Consultant. I am delighted, excited, titillated to have my guests this week in person, Derek and Candace. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Who out of the three of us would like to share how we met?
So we met a hotwife party here in Vegas.
You were talking to this other couple, and the men left. And I was like, this is my moment. And I walked up to Candace and began to just obsess over her entire outfit, starting from
shower me with compliments.
From the collar to the corset. And then I stepped back and took in the whole thing. Yes. Then Derek showed up.
So it was mostly about me first.
Yeah. I was like, now's my moment to slip in.
I was like, the couple was fine, right? But then you
totally
came
great,
up, right? And I was like, the stigma is you go and there's a lot of single men there with couples. So we were kind of expecting, okay, we might find a single man. But then we ended up finding you and we're like, all right. I'm definitely into this.
I mean, we were totally all each other's vibe.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it was...
I remember walking out of the bathroom, I opened the door and I saw you two talking and I was like, oh, this is great. This is good. Okay.
It was. Yeah. I was delighted because then I had seen you earlier, but Candace's outfit, that's what I had really seen.
Yeah. Every time we go out, I try to wear something.
Try to do something different.
Different, but still very sexy.
Oh, mission accomplished for sure. So I meet you at this hotwife party. I've been to a lot of these parties in different cities. I like this one because it's not so exclusive that no one shows up, but they do make you put a picture up there and say hey, this is me. So we know that whoever shows up is being vetted. When you get there, you have to show your ID to make sure you are who you say you are. I felt really safe because I showed up as a totally single woman.
Yeah.
That was actually, I noticed when you walked in because I was like, oh, a single woman. I was not expecting to see that here. And then I was like, the ball's on her. Good for you, right? It's not like you were a single woman and you showed up with a group of friends or anything, or, you see that sometimes. You were just there by yourself, and I was like, oh, wow. So I thought that was really cool.
I obviously have no problem talking to people, right? Because, before I came up to you, I was talking to a bunch of different couples, and then I was like, I found my mark.
I got it. Gotta get her.
Took the moment and walked up to you. And it was just a great night.
And we went back, like I was telling you earlier, and it just wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same.
Oh, because it is the people who make it.
Yeah, it's definitely the people.
We had separated and walked around because it was my first time there. Was it your first time?
That was our first time, yeah.
Okay.
So I spent a while looking at it and should we try this, should we not? Because at Playhouse, on a regular night, you have to, be a member of Playhouse to go. So it's a little bit different. And they have, a board there that will approve whether or not you can be a member. So you kind of go through, this, a very different vetting process than for the party that we went for.
Oh, you are teaching me something new.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to give, any free advertisement here, but the Hot Wife party is hosted by Front Porch Swingers.
Okay.
So you have to sign up with Front Porch Swingers or with Playhouse, right?
I'm pretty sure it was Playhouse. I bought a membership and then picked a party to go to.
Okay.
And was annoyed that I had to pay money to go to the party after buying the membership.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that I was paying tons of money to different people for this. But I'm glad to be a member.
Yeah. We signed up with Front Porch Swingers because I wasn't sure about the Playhouse vetting process.
We wanted to check it out.
Yeah. So we did it that way. And it was a good experience the first time. The second time, it was still a good experience. It just we didn't have as much fun.
Yeah, because it's a safe environment. My favorite part about the whole thing is one of the only reasons I think we were able to talk is Playhouse has this rule. I don't know if it's Front Porch Swingers, but 2 hours of socializing. So you can get there anytime between, let's say, 8 and 10. I think that was the time frame for us. I showed up at 9:15 because I'm not talking for a full 2 hours.
We got there a little after 8 because we went for drinks at Resorts World first.
I showed up stone cold sober because I drove myself there. I drove myself home. Yeah. I was I also just like to be clear-headed when you're alone so that it's easier as a pair and fun to go for drinks. But I was I'm going alone. Let me just
be sober.
I'll be sober for this one. Okay, so For 2 hours, though, then you have to socialize. You need to make at least one friend. Otherwise, you're literally just sitting there by yourself. That part's weird.
That's
Yeah.
what some people do, though.
Yeah.
You see people wandering around by themselves. It's weird.
Well, my thing is, if you can't talk to me, you can't have sex with me at
Yeah.
a sex party.
Yeah.
Like,
we joke, we have two extremes. We either like don't want to know your name, right?
Oh, I get that.
And just like get over here, or we want to feel like we made a good connection with
yeah.
you. There's no
Right?
in between, right? Like,
I totally get that. No, and I like that too. I
Yeah.
like that.
I'm more for like, I want to get to know the person because I feel like you have more fun when you are kind of, I don't know,
yeah, have
like some kind of connection, right?
We knew each other's names, but we also had some anonymity going in to a certain extent. So I'm going to tell it from my perspective.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
We're talking, but then the playrooms open and we all just go our separate ways to explore, right? And I'm like, I'm going to let the couple do their thing. I'll just like go off and check out different rooms. And we sort of passed each other and would weave past each other back and forth. Then I sort of clung on. Remember, I joined you as we wanted to go look at the glory hole and see if anyone was enjoying the glory hole, but we kept missing.
There are some like hopefuls lined up, but I think she finished with her man and then they left.
Oh,
so then we're all kind of waiting to see if
Crushing for the guys in line.
So, but I was like, oh, okay, well, that's a glory hole.
And then I remember you, Candace, saying, I want to go have sex on the big bed. And I couldn't say it fast enough. I said, go for it.
Let me watch.
Yeah. So you go and there's another couple there.
So I'm super excited and I follow you. I follow
Yes.
behind you as you go into this big room.
Yes.
But like for everyone listening who has never been to a sex party and might want to go or wants to understand, how did you end up where you ended up?
Well, we really wanted to just see what the rooms were looking like because we were talking, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we wanted to go see what everyone was doing. And that couple that was there before was still there. They were going out for like an hour
No,
or two.
from beginning to
Yeah.
end.
So as soon as the rooms opened, they were the first couple on that bed.
On the stage bed.
And I remember standing there and we were watching for a little bit.
And the guy was fucking another girl. And she was calling over another dick.
she
She
said,
was like,
"Who's got-
somebody bring a dick to me or
Who's
whatever.
got a hard dick? That's what she was saying. Who's got a hard cock for my mouth or something like that?
To say that doesn't happen in a lot
No.
of these
No,
parties.
it does
So,
not.
And there was guys who had their dicks out, like, waiting to be called over.
Mhm. Yeah.
So one of the guys went over.
So we watched that for a little bit, then walked around, then that's where we bumped into each other again and said, we were going to go back there and play on that bed.
And I am a big exhibitionist, so
I was so excited that you two were going to
decided to just do it.
put a show on.
Well, we usually like to, like, kind of get warmed up first. We don't like to be the first ones in there. We like to kind of watch first and then kind of get ready.
You don't want to be, well, I don't, right?
Okay. He doesn't want to be
I
the first
don't want
carrot
to
in
be
the
the
stew.
I don't want to be the person at the sex party who makes everyone gasp. Right? You know, like
You want them warmed up. I was waiting for you to
Yeah.
be up there.
Yeah.
So like
so we went back in there and we went over to the bed and we just asked, you know, is it okay if we play next to you, right? That's usually how we ask, usually how we approach people.
And that couple was really cool. They were like, they kind of were like, oh, we thought you'd never ask, you know?
Yeah.
Because we were kind of standing there for a minute and they're like, yeah, come over. And so we're like, okay, cool. And that was pretty
I'm
much...
still clung on at this stage, by the way. Like clung on, like I like walk up next to them as they undress.
Yes. And there's a bench there.
Yeah,
and
so-
you sit right down on
Yeah.
the bench.
There are like a few awkward parts in a night when you're going
Yes.
to an event like this, right?
Yeah.
Awkward part number one is when you get undressed. It's
Okay.
not like a movie where like it's not
No.
hot, passionate. You're not ripping each other's clothes off.
Like,
It's
your jeans catch on your socks.
exactly, yeah.
Not that Candace was wearing jeans, but
And then like you were kind of playing it off like, oh, I'm not gonna play
I
tonight.
wasn't gonna play.
I'm not gonna play
And
tonight
at this point,
because
was
I
gonna play?
think we were kind of asking like, well, if you want to sit on the bed, you can. Well, and you're like, no, I'll sit here. I'll sit on the bench. We're like, okay, cool. You know, whatever you want to do. And then what? It was about 10 minutes in. You're like,
No.
I don't think she made it 10 minutes. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember her denying sitting in the middle of the bed.
The guy from the first couple on the bed said, well, you can at least come cuddle.
yeah,
And I had no argument for that. I was like, you're right.
you're right.
I was welcomed into the middle of the bed, and I really didn't think about what I was doing. I was like, oh, closer to the action. I'm about to see angles that I don't see regularly. So I got in the middle of the bed, fully clothed, because I was wearing a dress, no lingerie. I was not prepared. I came to not play, so I wore a sexy dress, no lingerie. There were no layers
Yes.
to take off. I was either clothed or not.
Well, which actually kind of works out good.
It
We
did work
we
out.
always go back and forth, you know, because Candace always dresses in layers, usually a dress, lingerie, and then nothing.
Sexy panty. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're doing that, there's a lot to take off or put on afterwards.
I was on or I was off.
You're on or off, right? Dress, slip on, slip off, and that's it.
That was it. Yeah.
So, but like I was not planning to, but when I was invited into the middle of this bed and I had a couple to my left, both of you, a couple to my right, couple whose names I'll never know, like, and she's sucking on his dick hardcore for hours. Like, I have TMJ, so I watched this and I'm just thinking, how?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is impressive jaw work. I'm more impressed with her jaw than anything else. And then action starts on my left. What's going through your head?
Again, this is all about me, right? So I'm like,
Is it?
how can I give the audience the best view?
Yes.
So I always flip Derek with his head towards. So if I'm sucking dick, they can watch me suck the dick instead of me having my ass in the air, right? Like, I like to perform. And so I'm always kind of thinking about the angle of the audience.
Smart.
Because that's hot for me. Like, that's what gets me going.
But you can also then look up and out at the audience. So you're like, okay, I'm putting on a good show. And
That's
I get to watch the show.
That's what I really like, is like to give a good show.
So I think I usually start off as like, I'm just here for you to use me. Like, put on a show.
Yeah.
Do what you want.
I'll lay here.
And I'll lay here, or if you want me on top, just tell me what position you want me in and go to town.
I am pretty sure I heard you say how you want me.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Candace really was like, head there, and I'm like, my head's at the opposite end. So at multiple times we're looking at each other, Derek, and I'm looking at Candace from the behind, and I'm like, can I touch? And you say yes, and I rub the softest skin I've ever.
Oh, thank you.
It is.
She's got beautiful skin. So nice.
Thank you.
I know. I get embarrassed because then you start touching me, and I'm like, he's not gonna want to touch me. He has this to touch. Like velvet and sandpaper.
No, your skin was very nice as well. I always try to play it cool, but I'm not good at it. So I'm either,
your skin was very nice as well. That's Hannibal. Like, you put the lotion in the basket.
I try so hard to play it cool, and I'm not great at it. So I loved that we were making eye contact while she was sucking my dick. I love making eye contact with people while stuff is happening.
It's like the juxtaposition of Candace gets to look out and see this like semicircle of men, like an amphitheater almost of men watching us. You and I are making eye contact.
Yeah.
I'm also seeing the amphitheater of men, and then I have dick sucking marathon.
Yeah.
It's nice how those things stay.
That was such a great weekend for us.
And it was so spontaneous too. Yeah. Like, that's what I love about it. It was
an hour before we didn't know each other.
Yeah, it was the perfect.
It's crazy. So it was because when you said that comment about like, I'm never going to know this couple's name. So we've had a few experiences now. That was a really great weekend for us. So we had some other experiences that weekend at other parties.
I know.
So
you guys were on.
Yeah, we were
on it.
We were having a great fucking weekend.
Literally.
But I like joked with her recently. I was like, we've been together for 11 years this year. Married for 8 this year. Mm-hmm. Up until the past 12 months, it's just been the two of us. We're still fairly new to this. So we've only been doing this for like a year. So
we had a crazy weekend.
It's been 11 years since I've even like touched another person or had another person touch me. And so in the past 12 months, I've had more people suck my dick that I don't even know their names.
This brings us to the part of the podcast where when I started to hear your story, I was like, wait, what?
Yes.
My very open-minded self could not comprehend the story of Derek and Candace.
Yes.
Let us begin.
All right.
Okay. How did you two meet?
Online.
We met online. We met on Plenty of Fish. I had just moved to a new city. I was working a lot. I didn't have time to actually like go out and meet people or go do stuff. But I still wanted to, try and make friends or whatever.
You still wanted to fuck.
Yeah, still wanted to, if I found something.
There's an irony in that statement. He just wanted to fuck, and he meets
me.
Just tell us about your experience level.
Oh, so I was a virgin when I met Derek.
And were you looking to change that?
Not necessarily. I hadn't met anyone like him before, so I was kind of open to it.
Okay. What were you on Plenty of Fish to find?
I was to find someone to date, eventually to marry. And so, but I was kind of in the same boat as he was. I was kind of like on there to just date around. I wasn't necessarily serious about it.
But your dating was one of you was looking for friends, the other was looking for a potential partner.
Yes.
So marriage-minded lady.
Yes.
Is how I would describe it.
Correct.
And then how would I describe Derek?
I would say how I described myself when people asked at the time
Yes.
was, I'm on here looking for friends. If we end up hooking up, cool. If we end up dating, cool. I'm not looking for anything specific. I'm just looking for connection in general.
And with that being said, like, he was always really respectful on there too. He wasn't all about like sending the dick pics and stuff. It wasn't like that at all. It was, I am in it for friendship. And if this turns into something, then great. If not, then that was kind of how it was. Yeah.
I'm not surprised by any of that.
Yeah.
Because like that's the energy and vibe I got off of you both. And that's so much of these parties, people get so nervous going, but it's like try and calm down a little bit because then you feel people's vibe.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we all vibed. And that was a big thing. And that's how you guys started to open up to me about it being so new.
Yeah.
For you to be open.
Yeah, a little over a year now.
So this is 11 years ago on Plenty of Fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We won't get into specifics, but you're not living in this area. You're living elsewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the same city, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you meet up, what is it that draws you to each other's profiles besides looks?
So we're both from the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the major pull, was we just kind of had this like unspoken vibe that we kind of just understood each other.
We grew up, what, like an hour and a half or 2 hours,
2 hours
from each other?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
But met in another state.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But we had been talking for like over a month. We hadn't even met each other. We were talking, like texting and stuff.
I told you I was busy. That's why I say I really was just looking for people to talk to. I worked, you know.
And
like,
he had visited family, and so he was gone. And so I had a really bad like dating experience. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to delete that app. Like, I don't want to date anymore. Like, men suck, you know, all this stuff. But then at the same time, I was like, you know, I was talking to Derek, and he's always been really sweet and nice and like never sexual. Like it was always like he wanted to know me and not me for my body, right? So I was like, I'm going to give him a chance because I think like there might be something there. When he got back from visiting family, I hit him up and I was like, hey, are you back? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I want to go on a date. Like, I'm asking you out. You want to go out? And he's like, yeah. So that's kind of how that happened. And then automatically we were like really getting along, and
we connected
very quickly. Yeah.
Were there discussions about kink, sex?
So
was that the foundation of the relationship?
So I'll tell you the first date. She hates this, but I
do hate it.
She like,
because I feel like go ahead and tell the story.
Yeah. So I'm not the type to make the first move. I want to make sure that people are comfortable. I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to be like a creep. I grew up with a single mom. I was taught very much about like respecting women.
Consent and respect.
Consent, respect, all that. So that's like just a little bit about me. So she asked to hang out. Again, I'm busy. I don't get much time off work. I work 70 hours a week at this point. So I don't have time to work. And I'm 7 days a week. I don't have days off. There's no spare time. So she has to hang out, and I didn't want to be this guy, but I was like, really, like, if you want to hang out, you have to come over, or I can come over to your house, right? Because I don't.
That's like a no for me.
Yeah, that's
like
a no for. I
people?
never do that. I don't like having people at my house. I'm very private about that unless I'm comfortable. But I just kind of took this risk because we've been talking for so long. I'm all about like reading red flags and very cautious and stuff. And I remember 2 minutes away or 3 minutes away, she was like, I just parked. I said, okay. I live in a mid-rise apartment, so I have to go down and let her in. She can't just come in. And I said, okay, I'll come down and get you. And she responded with I. Like A-I-G-H-T.
Which actually tracks for you. I don't see are you turned off by this?
Very. Okay. I was like, I might not even go down there. This is like a no for me. But we've talked for so long. Maybe she's nervous. I'll be okay. So the plan was like, she was just gonna come over. We were gonna do like a DiGiorno type pizza.
Yeah, I got more pizza.
Watch TV or movies.
But you're standing there with a frozen pizza.
Got little grocery bag. So
she could only write I.
She's got one hand. She's got a whole stuff. Yeah.
I gotta hold my knife in one hand and the pizza in the other just in case I get robbed.
So we go upstairs, make the pizza, and we're just making small talk, trying to find something to watch. I think we put on Comedy Central, found out we both had a love for Tosh.0.
Of course.
So that was very easy.
Hold on, before this even happens, we were talking for like a good 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
You remember that part.
You remember that part? You don't remember that part?
A little bit. Yeah.
Where he was in the building, there was if you go out, there's like a shared laundry room and there's a balcony out in the laundry room. He's like, oh, there's a really good view out here. Let me show you. And we were out there for like an hour and a half just talking.
I pulled out all my moves.
What are your moves?
Well,
are they still still your moves? Now that you're out.
No, they are not my moves.
Well, okay, tell us some of your moves.
So back then, early to mid 20s, I'm in very good shape.
Okay.
I have tattoos. My moves are, I'm gonna bring you to look at like a nice view, something that's got like a relaxing environment.
Yes. Okay. That's
So-
a good move.
so
that's one of the moves.
That's one of the moves, right?
Environment.
Environment. Actually, like the amount of time that I spend setting up my apartment, considering to make it feel like things happened organically, is ridiculous. I'm very aware.
Did you put laundry in the washing machine to be like, I just have to get my laundry clean?
I didn't go that far,
Okay.
but no, I was very much.
That would have been suspicious, actually.
Yeah, I'm very much like, oh, you put the table on this side because most people are right-handed. I'm
Oh.
very like intentional with my space and with how I set things up so that you can have a more naturally occurring situation than like
Sometimes
having those-
I think things through like that.
yeah, having awkward moments where it's like I don't know how to explain it.
You don't want her left elbow hitting into something. So
Exactly.
you're like, let me.
He's like showing me all the pictures of his friends and like telling me how like popular he is, right? In an inadvertent way. Like he's like, oh, I have all these friends. Here are some pictures of my friends and us together. And
Well, like, what does he
I
pull
have-
out? A picture of like a famous friend or just
no,
like,
just
oh,
like,
I
but
just-
but
wait, hold on.
that to me, I'm like, okay, he has
He's
like
popular.
he has a good group of friends.
No,
like
that is important.
I
they've
n-
been
I
friends
never-
for 15 years, like all
Yeah,
this
I
stuff,
don't
right?
consider
So, like,
myself like I was not popular in high school, but I had a really good core group of friends that I'm still friends with today. You know, people I've been friends
and
with
he's like
for
telling me stories about these friends and stuff, and I'm like, okay, like seems really personable, and he seems, you know,
Aw.
all these things, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm asking him about his like tattoos, right? And I'm like, oh, what's this one about? What's this one? And he's like, oh, and then let me show you. And he lifts up his shirt, like 8-pack. Let me show you about this tattoo. And I'm like, He
And,
knew.
Like it was just.
and he was
Absolutely.
flexing.
absolutely. Well,
Okay.
I again at the time I'm like
Yes.
2-a-days at workout before work, go to work, workout after work. I'll brag about
No
this.
wonder he was busy.
I had like 4% body fat at the time, so I know
Wow.
and I know I'm shredded, right?
Yeah.
And like
And he's like, oh, and girls always tell me I have such beautiful eyes or
dreamy
dreamy
That
eyes. And I was like,
Wait, you tell her what other girls say to like up your value? I'm not against it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's-
I'm like, yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to tell you that.
but I could tell she knew.
I knew. You're not getting that from me.
But I was-
But anyways, the night went on. So
I made sure that I didn't have a TV in my living room.
Oh my gosh! Whoa, you're thinking 90 steps ahead.
I'm playing chess.
I don't think he remembers, but your roommate was home. And your roommate was watching TV in the living room.
Is that
so
what it
you're
was?
like, oh, if we want to watch something, we have to go into bed.
maybe
So,
his
yeah,
roommate
so-
was at there and like.
If
You
I
were
had-
conniving with your roommate.
If I had the TV at the time, then yeah, he was definitely there on purpose.
You little predator.
Yeah. Although I've planned all of this in my head, right? I'm still respectful, right? So like we're sitting on the bed, you know, not touching her. I'm just like laughing and
We were
talking
kinda snuggling
and
a little
joking.
bit.
Well, and then she snuggled up to me and put my arm around her, and then
Well, that takes a brave, strong woman
Yeah.
to be like, this is what I want now.
This is what I want.
so again, while like yes, I've planned how this would go down if it went down, I'm not making the first move.
You're just making it as comfortable as possible for everyone
Exa-
involved.
Exactly.
To make the moves that they want.
Yeah, should
Should
someone want to take
something
Yes,
to happen.
exactly.
Yeah. So then I think we started kissing. About 15 seconds later, she was fully naked. I wasted no time getting her undressed.
But how did she consent to this?
I think I was taking off my own clothes.
Yeah, you were taking off.
I was
your own
taking off
clothes.
his
It was
clothes.
Also no,
Well,
so-
from what I remember, I took off your shirt first, and then we kind of giggled because you're like, well, you know, if I'm gonna have my shirt off, then and I'm like, all right, so like, I took my shirt off, right, and that's kind of how it went. And then I unfortunately had my time of the month, so I couldn't like do anything on my end, but
you kept your underwear on her.
Kept my
So
underwear
to
on.
me, that was like a don't
Well,
touch,
there,
right?
yeah.
If she wanted me
She
to touch
picks
her.
up on
Yeah.
Yeah.
You, I like
Mhm.
that.
and then I sucked his dick.
So this is day one.
This is date one. I mean, I'm not that type of girl usually, and now like I
We
feel
all
bad
say
about.
that.
That's
Now
what
I
I was
feel
gonna say.
bad.
That's what they all say.
That's
Yeah.
what this movie.
No,
I
feel-
I'm not that type of girl.
Now I feel bad about it because that's our story now, and I'm like, that, I
Oh,
feel
that's why you don't like the story.
I feel a little bad about it because I'm like, I shouldn't have given it up that soon.
No.
I don't know.
No, it's a Kink Consultant podcast. We love these.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
These things are not to be held back or put
I
on a
know.
pedestal. They are to be celebrated and enjoyed. Did you both have a good time?
Yes, it was wonderful.
Yeah. So at the time, I had a rule about girls, like, and who I would long-term date, right?
Oh.
One of my rules was like, if a girl gave it up by the third date, you know, she maybe wasn't dating material.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still
Because
getting into this
I have
time out.
yeah.
Time out. Who was mid-20s Derek? Because honestly, he sounds like a fuckboy.
He was. He was. He
At
was.
the gym twice a day, too many hours. If you want to hang out with me, you have to come over. If you text the wrong thing, I might not come to the door. I'm going to set every step up. Sorry, I'm just recapping.
Yeah.
I'm going to set everything up so that you're more likely to want to be in my bed.
Yeah.
And then should everything go according to everything I've planned and you fall for my traps, you're not good enough.
Yep.
To date.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All
No,
right,
you
let's
got
go.
it. Yeah, you got it.
All
Yeah.
right, fuckboy Derek.
So-
Let's go.
So-
Wait, marriage-minded Candace, fuckboy Derek.
Yeah, we
There
were.
we go.
Continue.
Yeah.
So what happened after that?
But I really had a great time with her. And the reason you interrupted my story
I'm
about,
sorry.
you know, the pizza, because there was like a moment where, you know, we had made the pizza, we're eating. I'm true fuckboy. We're not using dishes. Here's the paper plates.
I can get
You
behind
know,
that now.
Here's the plastic cups. We're not using.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
doing dishes.
No judgment.
So I have like a bar height countertop and some stools.
Okay.
So we're sitting on the stools eating there, and I look over and she's got her pizza on the plate, and she just like slides, like she brings her mouth down to like the counter height and slides the pizza off the counter into her mouth. Like she doesn't pick the pizza up like a normal person. She just like slides this pizza into her mouth, like takes a bite and then like slides it back. And it's not like she's looking at me, like she's doing this like
Listen,
yeah.
I've seen her mouth skills. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
that should only have gone in the pros list.
Yeah. So that
this
was a pro.
Yes,
That was a pro.
You are already
Because
yourself.
because
Yes.
I was so happy to find somebody who was just themselves from the start. Because when you go on these meet people at first, it's like
They put up walls.
they put up walls,
Yeah.
so you don't get the true person up front. So I feel like that night I got the true person up front,
You did.
and
Yeah.
that was what like I was like, okay, I want to hang out with her again, you know?
So, and like unbeknownst to him, like before I went in there, like I said, like I had a bad experience with a guy right before this. And I was like, if Derek doesn't like me for who I am, then fuck him. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm just going to get what I want and that'll be it. And so I went in there. I'm like, I'm just going to be myself. Like, I don't care. Like, if I want to crack this weird joke about me eating a slice of pizza, then I am. Like, I'm not going to like hold anything back. If I want to suck his dick, I'll suck his dick. You know? Like, so like, I think it definitely worked out in my favor, right? So
Yeah, it was a good date. The only other notable thing about that date, we're sitting on my bed. Again, very intentional. I only have one nightstand. I'm not sending out the message that like there's room for a second nightstand in this room. So I have that on the right side. On the left side, the side of the bed she's sitting on, there's like a little space between the wall and the bed. And I had a machete and a nightstick.
For what?
protection.
Yeah.
Because we're in downtown.
So I was like, I spent a lot of time setting up my stuff, forgot to put them away. Obviously, no one feels safe when they see a machete and a nightstick.
I don't know about Candace, actually. Like, what were you?
Well, was it the first date that I saw them?
That was the first date. Yeah.
I rolled over. I don't know. I was like just like looking under the bed. And I remember seeing, and they were side by side. And I'm like, Derek, why do you have these things over here? And he's like, I like to feel protected.
Yeah, but you can't, you know, if somebody comes in with a knife, my abs don't stop knives. Yeah, so
that was a good date.
yeah, that was the date.
I love this date. Are either of you kinky at this stage? Because it sounds a little kinky to go straight for a blowjob. The way you eat the pizza alone sounded kinky, but
So the third date?
Before we get to that,
Okay,
I would say I'm kinky at this time, but I haven't really explored much. I would say, right? I love porn, watch all different kinds of porn, right?
kink and non-kink.
BDSM,
yeah. And vanilla.
All sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But haven't really explored anything. And I think I started getting into this the night we met, but I think we were like, let's hold this for when we do this podcast. Right? So I dated a girl in high school for a few years, and I remember it was getting to the point where it was, we're either going to do the high school sweetheart thing or we got to break up. And there were other things going on. This was not the deciding factor. I decided to break up with her, but she didn't like giving blowjobs. And so for me, I remember when I'm thinking about what life with her is going to be like long term, I'm like, I'm not going to get blowjobs for the rest of my life.
And as a teenager, that probably seems really scary. You are in
I haven't gotten enough blowjobs as a teenager to like, you know, be willing to sacrifice those, right? That's not.
This is a PSA,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, this is a.
And if she's not giving blowjob, she's definitely not going to swing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Well, that
right?
was not on.
That was not on the
That was
table.
Not on the radar.
No.
But blowjobs definitely were. So when I broke up with her, I remember thinking, I'm never going to long-term date somebody again who doesn't give blowjobs or is not into like kink and sex. I didn't know what kink was, but I knew I wanted to explore sex from every angle, and I wasn't willing to like sacrifice that. It wasn't going to be the deciding factor on whether I would stay with somebody, but it was a very important thing.
To have something serious.
Yeah.
I love that you figured that out that soon. It took me until my first my only marriage ended to come to that conclusion. So I had a whole ass wedding
Yeah.
and divorce
yeah.
before I got to where you got to in high
It's
school.
very, very hard, very difficult. And then I remember the first hookup I had after that. Cover your ears.
Have I heard this story?
I don't know if you have.
Oh no. Go
My
ahead.
first hookup after that.
I'm only looking at your face now.
I remember I was hooked up with this girl at a party. We had been talking for like a week or so. We went to a bathroom at the party, played with each other a little bit, and we broke a toilet paper holder off the wall. We broke something else in the bathroom. And so then my friend was like, get the fuck out of my bathroom. You're breaking stuff.
Oh, because it's a house.
It's a house.
Yeah.
So we got out of the bathroom, went down, and then when everyone went to sleep, we're on a couch in the living room. It's dark, but we hooked up on the couch in the living room. And I remember she was like, can I suck your dick? And I was like, this is all I ever wanted.
Liar.
Right? Like, this is all I ever wanted. Somebody who actually wanted to suck my dick. That was like...
You wanted to be wanted.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a very important thing to me. If she's not in the mood, it's very easy for me to shut it down. Like, I don't want that, right? Like, if you don't want me, I don't want it in return.
Your core desire is to be wanted, and that's what does it for you. So once you feel wanted, then
I'll do anything.
Yes.
Then it's free game.
I feel like that.
Yeah.
But Candace, what was your experience going?
I don't think I knew I was kinky. I really didn't think I was until I met Derek. I think I always was. I just didn't know it. Growing up in like a Christian home, we didn't talk about sex. I couldn't have a boyfriend. It was very restrictive. And so I ended up like having a porn addiction really young because I wasn't getting any kind of like relationship experience. So through therapy, like I found that the reason for my porn addiction was because I was like seeking like emotional connection with like anyone, right?
And as a teenager, you were getting that from porn.
Yeah, and because I wasn't always
vanilla porn. Sorry to interrupt, but vanilla porn.
No, like anything.
Any porn.
Anything I could get my hands on, because this is like the 90s, right? 90s, early 2000s. So
I
like,
don't even think I really knew how to use.
There wasn't a lot of access to things, right? So there was like a lot of vanilla stuff out there, but there was like lesbian porn or whatever. And so like I was really interested into that, but it was more like I wouldn't always masturbate. It was always just I wanted to watch it because I felt some kind of connection. It's kind of sad to say out loud, but like
I don't think it's sad at all. I think it's beautiful that you recognized it. And
and so there was so much shame attached to that. So I think I like internalized the kink. When I met Derek, I found someone that I really felt like I could be myself with. And that's when it started to kind of come out, was like, I feel completely comfortable with this person. Now I can like actually express myself and what I want to do.
In hindsight, was it actually addiction, or was it a group of people who didn't understand porn and thought it was
I don't think it was addiction. I just watched it a lot because I wanted connection a lot, and I wasn't getting anything from my family, from friends, any of that. So
I think part of it probably is the like people not understanding.
Yeah, my parents did find it, so I probably got into it when I was really young. I was like 8 or 9.
Wow.
And then they didn't find it until I was like 16, and so I was already kind of
8 years in watching porn
watching it. And I would go through like periods where I wouldn't watch it at all because I was so ashamed of it. I would like, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm never going to watch it again. And then so I'd go like a year or 2 without watching it. And then I'd like get back into it again. Another thing I found through therapy was it was always at a time where like something bad would happen in my life, like that I would go back to it because it would comfort me in some kind of way.
So that you needed that emotional connection.
Needed the emotional part of it to like get through whatever I was going through. which was, you know, like in hindsight, I look back and I just feel really bad for young Candace because I'm like, I wish I had someone to talk to about it. And now I'm very aware of it too. So now, you know, we have kids.
Yeah.
I want to make sure okay, that they have the emotional connection that we have. And then, you know, if they want to talk, whatever they want to talk about, let's talk about it. You know, I don't want them to feel shame for anything. If you're interested in something, let's talk about it. You know, trying to feel like we've tested a lot of things out there. If we find that our kid is into something that we've never experienced before, let's get through it as a family. I don't know, you know,
Yeah, you don't want your kids to have to struggle in the same way you did
Yeah.
through shame.
Yeah.
That was probably completely unnecessary. And the reason I picked the word shame is what you described is very similar to people who have fetishes or go through a kink journey. They get really obsessed with it and then they throw everything out. And they're like, I'm getting over this. But if it's part of you, it's really hard to. Just like needing connection was part of you and you found a way to get connection.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Yeah. And then when we got together, I didn't need it anymore. I didn't need to look at porn anymore. Like I said, I'd gone through years of my life where I didn't look at it and then I would get back into it. And then when we met and we had our connection, I didn't need that emotional attachment anymore to porn. So now we just watch porn when we want to. You know, when we're intimate and we want to kink it up, we'll put on some porn, you know,
you don't feel that.
I don't feel that pull anymore to watch porn.
Wow, so there's no craving for porn because what you were craving was the emotional connection that you finally found with Derek.
Exactly.
God, I love this.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with anyone who might find it interesting. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out. Email info@thekinkconsultant.com. Until next time, keep on kinking on.